sunroof.
Yep, factory sunroof. Force clad, which is why I've got more insulation to try and finish cladding. Hi, I'm Mick. I'm a maintenance supervisor for a mining company, and this is my shed.
So what have we got behind us?
So at the start of the year, purchased a 2024 Lotus Emira. It was a quite an involved process to be able to get one. Allocations were already sold out for the first batch that were allocated to West Australia. And I was fortunate enough to be able to get a spot in line for any other orders that they might have come across. And due to COVID and other delays in like American markets, I assume, there was extra allocations available. And so yeah, after a couple of years of waiting, confirmed my spec and got an opportunity to purchase a Lotus Emira, which I'm pretty stoked about. It was like I said, very fortunate.
Why this car?
Good question. I had quite a few other cars, and one of the reasons, or one of the goals, I guess, was to stop hemorrhaging money for insurances and regos on cars that I didn't use that were sitting in the shed. And I wanted to consolidate and just get like one car that I was like stoked with. And then I sort of, by process of elimination, looked at what that would be. What car would I get? Originally, I really wanted to purchase a Ferrari, actually, but the more I looked into it, as a humble mechanic, maintenance costs are phenomenal for a lot of those cars, and again, during COVID, prices were even more than what they are now. I wasn't interested really in a BMW, a Mercedes, a Jaguar, or a Audi for brand new, because the depreciation cost is massive, and also maintenance cost is quite high. Same with Porsche, and this looks to me like $1 million, and ongoing costs are, I wouldn't say cheap, but a lot cheaper than a lot of those high-end cars. So the theory being a little bit higher purchase cost, but a little bit less ongoing costs. And to me, like it ticked all the boxes. The Falcon was fast, but not real pretty. The Jaguar was a gorgeous car, but it was a 4-door, and I really wanted like a special coupe. And the WB was a project that was, a fair way into it cost-wise, and got a lot more to come to finish it. And so it was an opportunity to move those three on. I was lucky enough to be able to keep the Monaro, and then use that money as a good start for a deposit to be able to get one.
So what running gear have you got in this one behind us?
So this one has the V6 supercharged. The options were V6 supercharged out of Toyota 2GR, or a AMG 4-cylinder turbocharged. You had option with the V6 whether that was automatic 6-speed or a manual 6-speed. Now, I did test drive both, and for me, the way that I wanted it to sound, I like the sound of a more quicker shifting, like So that's what I chose. I wanted the flappy paddle auto.
Bit of fun to drive.
Yeah, definitely. Yep, I actually had a Lotus drive day yesterday up in the hills from Perth, with a bunch of other mirrors. Actually, there was at least 10 other mirrors there, and definitely good fun to drive. Definitely sticks and handles around corners like crazy.
Bit more of a go-kart than the Jaguars.
Definitely, yeah. Look, the Jag was a really beautiful handling car, but completely different purpose. The Jaguar I had, being a executive saloon, was a really comfortable Grand Tourer. So electric steering, very smooth, very quiet. This is, the purpose of this car is not
Sports
that.
car.
It has way more feeling through the steering, being hydraulic. It's definitely, it's okay to drive back and forward to Perth, but it's not really what it's designed for, long trips on highways.
Yeah.
This one though, I've done so many trips to Perth, and being, basically hate to say it, but two-door Commodore, but there's so many things as far as running gear. These were designed for Australian long roads and outback roads, so as far as affordability to keep on the road, can't go wrong. This one's a 2003 CB8 Monaro, LS1, 5.7 litre V8, 6-speed manual. I bought it about 10 years ago. I've always wanted a Monaro. When I was a kid, I saw the adverts on TV, the yellow Game Over adverts, and I had to have one. So 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to purchase one, and and here we are. Just a couple only really basic mods done to it. Just a brake upgrade because the brakes from standard were pretty terrible. It's been lowered, not sure if you can tell.
A little bit.
And just the normal bolt-on stuff, over the radiator intake, full exhaust, matchless tune.
It's been 11 years since I've sold mine and I still regret it every day.
Look, for me, to be able to purchase the Emira, I did have this for sale, but it was the one that if I could afford to keep, that was the plan. It was the one that, if the figures worked out right, and that was the plan, to try and hold on to it.
Yeah. So what's this storage piece you've got in the corner here?
This thing that has all my insulation on it is that's wall insulation that I haven't finished yet. This is a 1956 Mark 7M Jaguar. Now this belonged to my dad, and when I was a kid, he did a couple of weddings in it, and he used to drive it around. And he started, he used the term loosely, but the restoration process, which in his mind is pulling it apart. Unfortunately, it hasn't had much more done to it than that, so it's a long-term project.
How do you visualise this car when it's all finished?
Well, funny you say that, because I actually just recently spoke to my dad about it, about our plan moving forward, what we're going to do with it. He doesn't have the time or energy to continue with it, so I'm going to purchase it off him, and in a way that's a good thing. It means if it does get chopped up a little bit, it's not his car anymore, so I can't really complain or dictate what happens to it. He wanted to restore it back to original and back to classic, but I don't know. I kind of think that I'm not at a stage right now to restore it, but down the future I might have that opportunity, and I think something like this is going to be hard and rare to get hold of in the future, to be able to have one to chop up.
Yeah, such good body lines on them as well. So
look, there's definitely some cool things done with some of them. They're not a really common car, but I'll show you some photos of some that have been restored, and I guess like anything comes down to how much money and time you're willing to put into it.
yeah, I was going to say, like with making them pillarless.
I actually want to do a suicide doors.
Alright. Sunroof.
Yep, factory sunroof.
How often do you get these out?
So whenever I'm home, I daily drive the Lotus. Sounds horrible to say, but if I need to chuck tools and like I said, I've made a few staircases. I've had to throw things in the back. I need more room. I take the Monaro as a bit of a work hack to transport tools and things around. But yeah, no, I daily drive this. I bought a brand new, and it's done 7,000 k's now, and I only bought it I don't know how many months ago, not even 6 months ago. Not very often at all, to be honest. I have taken it to a couple of cars and coffees. Not often at all.
Occasionally it gets driven to golf.
Occasionally it's given, it does fit a golf bag and a buggy in, whereas the Lotus only fits a bag in without a buggy, so If you know there's going to be no high cars you can drive around on, I've got to take the Monaro so you can fit the buggy in the back.
What was your very first car?
My first car was an old Magnum. I don't know what year, 80 something. That's horrible.
What was the first performance car, a nice car you ever ended up with?
Performances, I don't know. It depends on what you class as a performance car. I mean, I had an E-Series Falcon that had a massive snail on it and 6-speed manual. That was fast in a straight line. I'm not sure about steering.
If money wasn't an issue and you could get any car today, what would it be?
I'd say a 458 Ferrari.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I have my little flags around the place. Maybe one day inspiration.
Have you found the sheeting the walls make a bit of a difference with the heat or anything like that? Or?
I haven't noticed with the heat so much, but I definitely am stoked to have done that because I never used to use an angle grinder in here. I was definitely aware of sparks and rusting out your shed when it gets covered in sparks, and eventually it sort of rusts through. So I'd always have to take things outside if I was going to be cutting up any steel.
Yep.
Obviously not with this, but with an angle grinder. Having the walls clad, which is why I've got more insulation to try and finish cladding all the rest of the walls, is to as much about warmth and heat as it is to just try and protect the shed.
Yep. And it looks better.
It looks better, yeah.
You can hang stuff up on the walls.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
You've got a fair bit of equipment behind us, so what have you been playing with?
I do have some tools, some metalwork tools, all the gear, no idea. I do enjoy a bit of fabrication. I've made a few things for some friends and family, some fences and staircases and things like that. I'm actually in the process of making some legs for my sister for a table for my sister. But yeah, I definitely enjoy being creative and welding things up. I find that something I enjoy doing.
Got yourself a new workbench, metal bench. How do you find the fixture table?
Yeah, really good. So when you're making things, it's having all the clamps and tools to be able to do things nice and square is definitely a lot better than doing things on the floor. Concrete is pretty flat, but it's not definitely not as flat as something that's designed specifically for this.
Yep.
Just gives you better results.
Yep.
Did you put this mez in?
I did, yeah. I built this to make some more space. At the moment, it's a storage facility for old Jaguar parts, Skyline parts, and nuts and bolts and some Monaro spares. If I was to do it again, I probably would, I don't know. It's good that it's high because you can walk under it okay, but you can't if it was lower and there was more room up top, you could have a seating area up there. But I guess I don't really need it for the seating area, so it's good in the fact it's just for storage, and so it's kind of good that it's just up and out the way.
You almost could have a seating area though, because you just have to crawl to get to it. But once you sat down, yeah, there you go.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, but if you're sitting up there.
Yeah, but you get full of piss and then you'd stand up and smack your head on the roof.
And fall off with no barricading around it. So I did have a friend's Skyline in here. Was in for an engine swap. I pulled the engine out, and but then the engine that was going to go back in it ended up getting sent away for other improvements to make more power. So I've just got some spares down here. The actual car was in here until recently. Just went off to get some bodywork done, getting ready for paint. So, which is good. A bit more space in here for me, and then just normal tools and consumables and yeah.
What's your favourite thing about your shed?
A hoist, yeah. Having a hoist for sure is definitely handy. Although you end up fixing most other people's cars as much as you do working on your own. I don't mind. I don't mind obviously helping your mates and fixing their cars, but
as long as they buy your beers.
I used to work in the carport. I remember doing gearbox swaps on the floor with jacks and stands and all kinds of that kind of work. I'm a mechanic by trade, so it was frustrating going to work, working with all the tools, and then coming home and just struggling on the floor, having to do things. And so that was actually the main deciding factor or reason that I wanted to build a shed and you know, and also to get the height to have a hoist in here, was to be able to comfortably work on cars and, you know, have the space and do it safely and be able to.
It makes it more enjoyable as well.
100%.
When you've got to go and curse in the carport, you can't even open the doors properly and get under a car in the dark, and it just it doesn't make it a lot of fun. When you can come out here and put a car up in the air and work comfortably, you're a lot more.
It's definitely a lot more enjoyable, you know. And as you're saying, doors not being able to open properly, using a jack and the jack hitting the wall. Yeah, did it for long enough, and
we've all been there. So.
Yeah.
Did you build this shed from scratch, or did it come with the house?
No, so we built this. So I got this shed through Rambuild. They were at the time not the cheapest, but I think a really good quality shed. So I bought the kit, and they did the concrete and provided the kit. And then I wrote my dad in to come and give me a hand for a week, and it was the worst weather. It was like the middle of like August, and it was just raining every day. But we got the frames up, and once we got pretty much most of it done, except for the roof, he had to go back, and then I had a couple of mates come and give us a hand to finish putting the roof on. And one of the things I'm very glad I did from the start is get the floor painted, to try and seal all the dust, and also when you spill oil and things, having a epoxy floor, way easier to clean up any mess.
Definitely agree with that. It was one of the first things I did when I set up my shed. So
I had Sparkies come through and wire up all the power points and all the lights and stuff, and one of them said, I bought the paint and I never got around to it when I first moved in, and now there's no chance of doing it because you're moving with all your stuff, and where you're going to put all your things, to be able to empty it all, to be able to paint the floor, to be able to put them all back in. So I'm glad I did it when there was nothing in here.
Yeah, definitely.
Thing you need to think about when building a shed is where the sun is and where the sun goes, and because of the size of the shed, the grass would never grow at the back here, so we decided to build a little basketball court. Grass doesn't grow anyway, and built this little area out here to shoot some hoops and chill out. Change my mind about it. If you said if money was no object, I'd probably get not a 458. I'd have to get like a LaFerrari.
I think if money wasn't an issue, you'd end up with 10 supercars there.
Yeah. It'd be hard to pick one.